Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Autumn Willow's Doll Nursery. My name's Miranda, and today we're going to talk about some really cool psychology stuff and how that pertains to dolls. Oops. Hang on, somebody needs an outfit, or I mean a hair. We're having a hair issue. There. So, I'm excited about this. Before I forget, I have with me, this is my little Felicity. She is the Missy sculpt. I'm sure everybody knows her. She's an older sculpt. And I also have one of my animal art dolls. This is little Nala. She's real soft, and she's made of clay. I purchased her from I think the page is called Gift of Mercury, and she makes all different types of little animal art dolls, and I have a few of her pieces. But you'll see why I have both of these little ones here today, because normally you're just used to seeing the human dolls, human-like dolls. But we're going to talk about anthropomorphism and personification today, because I think this is fascinating. Now, I took psychology at school. It was one of my favorite subjects, and it is something that I have never stopped studying into. So anthropomorphism means it's when you attribute human qualities or emotions to non-living things, essentially treating them as if they were people deserving of care. And that's where it kind of gets into personification as well. Now, there's religious anthropomorphism, which we're not talking about today. We're talking about non-religious anthropomorphism today. And this is something that I have, and I have always had. I can remember being a little kid, and my dad was working on a car, and he was having, some things weren't working out right, and he was struggling, and he got really mad at the car. And I can't remember if he just slammed his fist down on the quarter panel, on the top of the quarter panel. I can't remember what it was, but he did something, and of course, you know, there was some language. But I felt so bad for the car, as if the car had feelings, and I was always that way. The movie, if you have seen the movie or read the book, The Velveteen Rabbit, listen, that movie absolutely destroyed me as a kid. I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. It's about a stuffed animal. A rabbit, little stuffed animal. But what are you wanting, Kinsley? I don't know if you can hear her down here scratching. Are you wanting the pillow? If I don't tend to whatever she's got going on over here, then she'll just keep scratching. So, what is it that you want? She loves getting underneath the bassinet. It is not a good thing for you to get underneath there. But that's what she's wanting. Okay. Well, anyway. So, I can remember feeling sorry for inanimate objects as a kid. Feeling sorry for my stuffed animals. Like if we had to get rid of things. You know, you get too many toys, so you have to get rid of them. I would get really upset over that. And I would feel sorry for the toy. I would feel sorry for a toy if I hadn't played with it very much. I'm not picking you up, little ma'am. But, yeah. So, it makes sense that having that, so that is something that's typical with people that have autism, but isn't limited to people that have autism. And I've often wondered, for those of us that consider ourselves doll mommies, not just doll collectors, is it because we have this ability? I don't know. A superpower. Is it a superpower? I don't know. But is that what this is? Do we do we enjoy the props and caring for our dolls as if they were real? Because we have anthropomorphism. We experience that. Fascinating. It's all really fascinating. And is that why we get so emotional over our pieces? We get emotional when getting a doll. If a doll gets lost, in the mail, of course, we're spazzing out. Is that what is happening? I don't know. I think for me it is. I can't answer that for anybody else. But do you have this? And listen, I know I have to kind of say this. I love documentaries, and I watch a lot of documentaries. The issue with doll collecting in general is that our culture, our society today, they like to pin people that collect dolls and show them in a documentary in a way that makes them seem, nuts, crazy, off the wall. Like, this guy's ridiculous, because the wow factor is what's getting them the views. So, rarely ever would you see a doll collector of any type of doll be shown in a way that could be completely normal. You just won't see it. And so when you talk anthropomorphism, you may come across the documentaries where people are physically attracted to inanimate objects, whether that's a car, a bridge, whatever. And that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that side of things. Today, I'm just talking about the very innocent, childlike, I like to take care of my dolly. If it's cold outside, I like to dress her in a warm, snuggly outfit. Same with my little animals that I have. She's enjoying a little cradle bed right now, but this isn't her normal. She has a little nest, and all my little animals have their own little nests and things. So yeah, I like to take care of my animals, my dolls. When you walk into a room and you see a doll or a stuffed animal, an art doll, something displayed, I want it to appear as if this little creature, this little doll, this little baby is living in this environment, and this is its little house, all of the things. And I know that goes back to wanting to care for inanimate objects as if they're real. And it's not, when you have that, it's not something that you grow out of. It is something that you carry straight into adulthood. And for you, it's just completely normal. But of course, to somebody who doesn't have that, it can be very confusing. And I've seen this confusion in the doll community. I have seen people ask, what is it that everybody's talking about that they can't bond with a doll? Like, it's a doll. What are you talking about bonding with it? They don't have that ability. To them, it's just a piece of plastic. It may be a nice or vinyl. It may be a nice piece of plastic or vinyl, but that's all they can see it as. And they're not able to put any emotions behind it or anything like that. And so for them, this idea is very, very confusing. I totally get it. So, don't be bullying people if they can bond or can't bond. Either way. People are different. We're all different. We are all experiencing this life differently. So just let people do, But I thought it would be cool to talk about, because I don't think I've seen anybody in the doll community talking about this. And I did answer a lady's question in a group, and I don't even remember what group it was. But she was asking about that. Like, what is this bonding or not bonding? I don't understand. And I brought up in the comments about anthropomorphism. And I got comments like, wow, I've never heard of this. And it's fascinating because you would think this would be a really common topic in this hobby of doll collecting. So, I don't know. I think more people should be talking about this and exploring this idea and looking at themselves and being like, oh, is this what I experience? Or is this what, my friend over here's been experiencing and I had no idea? Because it is pretty neat. And it definitely makes collecting a lot more fun, I think. I don't know. It seems like it might be boring to not have it and be collecting because, when I look at little Felicity here, she has a personality to me. She has likes and dislikes. It's strange because with certain little animals or dolls, I have a stuffed animal collection too, outside of just the art. This is considered an art doll, less of a stuffed animal, I guess. This little one does have a skeleton inside of her, and so she can move. You can pose and do all sorts of different things with her. Most of the critters that the lady at Gift of Mercury makes, they have that. So it's, they're more than just stuffed animals. But for me, each one of them has their own little personality. Like Nala here, she's very sweet. She may be a dinosaur, but she is very sweet, very gentle, playful. And sometimes this can sound weird, but sometimes things will tell me their name. I know that sounds crazy. Even plants. I had picked up years ago a bonsai tree, real cute little bonsai tree, and I was like, oh, I gotta name it, because that's another thing. When you experience this anthropomorphism, you have to, everything has to have a name, right? So this tree had to have a name. And of course we all have names that we like, names that we dislike. And this little tree, I was looking at this tree and I was like, oh, what's your name? And I got very clearly George. Which was funny because George is definitely not on my favorite names list. And it's not a name I would have picked. But I really felt like this tree had said his name was George. I don't know how to explain that. Listen, I don't know how it works. Is it just a part of having anthropomorphism? I don't know. Or experiencing that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. And sometimes dolls are the same way. Now, Felicity, I struggled with naming. Struggled with naming her, and I struggled with naming Hava. Hava used to go by Lilia as her first name. And now she's going by Hava as her first name. So those two, I've struggled with names. But Moshe was super easy to name. I mean, I just knew his name was Moshe. Nala was really easy to name. And I know most of the time I don't like to use a popular name. Like Nala is obviously associated with the Lion King. I wouldn't have used a popular name like that because it has an association with something else. But I just felt like her name was really Nala. So that's what we went with. And I guess it's just part of the fun. And I have heard other collectors talk about that, where dolls just seem to name themselves. You just get this feeling that that's the doll's name. Which is it's pretty cool to hear other people talk about that. So I'm curious, and I really hope that this sparks a conversation in the doll community. Do you have this? Do you not have it? What do you think of it? I think in this hobby that I'm in, for me, I think it's a gift. I think it really helps. It helps me to enjoy the hobby on a completely different level. Yeah, but, you know, there's ups and downs because, of course, like I talked about in I think the video that I was changing Moshe in, I brought up, you know, the disappointments and the discouragements. You'll feel those extra strong. You know, when you have, because I can do this, I can see a doll on a website for sale, and I can just know its name. And I can just see its personality so clear. And I know what it likes and what it dislikes and how it behaves. And I can get very attached to a doll just from a picture. And if something, you know, if you can't get the doll, whatever, then you're devastated because you've already bonded. You've already gotten attached. So that would be the downside of it, you know. But yeah, well, I'm curious, what do you guys think? Have you experienced this? And it reminds me of an episode of an old TV show, Community. And one of the main characters, Jeff Winger, he was a lawyer. And he's trying to convince his group of friends to go along with something. And he's explaining that they can get attached to anything. And so he has a pencil. And he's like, you know, he names the pencil. He tells them the pencil's name. And they're all looking at the pencil, and they have now, they're attributing human-like characteristics to the pencil. So, anthropomorphism, right? Here it is. And then he breaks the pencil. I'm not going to break my toothbrush, but he breaks the pencil, and he's like, and part of you just died inside. And so he was talking about that. He was talking about how we have that ability to emotionally connect with inanimate objects. And it was funny because his friends around the table they were like, oh, you know, like you could see them deflate when he broke the pencil. So he proved his point, but that makes me think of this every time. That is exactly how I am. And I think that's one reason why when I was a kid, like my brother, when he was really, really little, he didn't know any better. And, you know, he would pull heads off of Barbies and stuff. And I would get so upset because, you know, he hurt one of my Barbies. And then, of course, their heads never sat back on right. They would have no neck. That was annoying. And I think that's why The Velveteen Rabbit was such a devastating movie to me. Just, ugh. And if I remember correctly, it does have a happy ending. But still, it was such a hard emotional journey, that movie. So, what do you guys think? Do you have it? Do you see it more of, if you do you see it more of a blessing or a curse? You know, what's been your experience with it? And maybe if you don't have it and you've been wondering, like, what is up with bonding or not bonding? Why are people, you know, really going the extra mile to care for their doll as if it's real? Whether they have, like, the fake bottles with fake formula, or get, like, little toys. Like, I've got, this is a little teeter that you can put around the little hand of, it's meant for a real baby, of course, but you can put it on the hand of your doll and pretend like they have the teeter, because I use the Babysit Me app. And that's another thing. I think the Babysit Me app, a lot of doll collectors use, is playing into that. It is, it gives you something to walk that out with, because it gives you the prompts of, oh, your baby's crying. It needs its diaper changed, or it's hungry, or it needs attention, right? And so you get to, like, really play that out. So I think the app was designed for us, right? And it also helps us to bond really strongly with our dolls. So it's just adding to the fun. I do wish, speaking of that app, I do wish that they would, I think Shell Bell, I can't remember what she goes by. I'm really bad with names. I struggle to remember, like, the sculptors that sculpt the kits just because I'm bad with names. But anyway, the girl that created the app, I'm sure you all know her. I wish that she would add on to the app to have for dolls that are 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, and you could have those settings for your toddler dolls, right? Because I think I prefer toddlers. I think they're my favorite. So it would be cool to have those options. And I know a lot of masterpiece doll collectors, you know, a lot of those dolls are really tall, you know, 32 inches to 48 inches, I think. So, you know, they could benefit from the app too. You could set it to 3-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever. So I hope that happens. I hope enough people talk about it that they think to do something like that. And you could even get, maybe people would donate sound clips from their toddler that could go onto that app. You know, that'd be fun. So that they could be, you know, as realistic as possible. You could send in, you know, my child's 2 years old or 3 years old, and this is the sound clip. Like, here's a file of sound clips. This is them crying. This is them laughing. This is them asking for, you know, a yogurt or whatever it may be. And then you could put that into the app and have it randomly, like, generate the different things. Just an idea. Just an idea. If anybody out there is friends with her or could create something like that, hey, I would definitely 100% pay for that. I think that's where I'll leave the video today. I hope you've enjoyed these two. We didn't talk about the amazingness that is Felicity's outfit today. Check this out. So this is a vintage piece. Makes me feel old. This is either from the, I would assume, late 80s or early 90s, somewhere in that department. Whoop. Need help sitting up here, don't we? That outfit is just too cute. And I think I found it on, it was either Mercari or eBay. I don't remember. But you know me, in vintage clothes. And especially, I think 80s and 90s are my favorite for baby clothes. I have a box opening for her that I did film. It was before I had my channel. And I don't know how well I filmed it because it was filmed from my phone. But I wanted to have the memory, and I thought about uploading it. It is the nicest box opening. Her artist was Heckling Who's Nursery on eBay. And it was the best box opening I've ever got with a doll. So I'm glad I filmed it. I just don't know how well it's filmed. But I thought about uploading that. Even though it's an older video, it would be cool for you guys to see everything that she came with. Because she came with so many things. And it was beautifully packaged. It was the whole, like, baby shower in a box kind of thing. She came with so much stuff. This little pacifier holder that I have some bows in, that came with her. So I think that's all the stuff I have right here around me that came with her. I do have a box that I have some of her original things in that's really cute. That's something else I want to talk about in a video, is how I store their paperwork. They all have photo books. And I'm going to be doing a master book soon that I thought that would be a cool idea for a video, where I catalog my collection. My grandmother, she catalogs her collection, and she has like this book with a picture of every doll, and then it has their information. So I may do that and film that. That would be a lot of fun and help me stay organized. And you can just in one photo album. That would be the goal, keeping it to one photo album and not having a too massive collection. I think I have, I either have just under 40 total dolls, and that's not all Reborns, that's a variety of dolls. Either it's just under 40 or just over 40, I can't remember now. But I think that's where we're gonna stop today, and I'll let you say goodbye to these two pretty little ladies. I don't know, can you even see her? Woo! How cute. How cute. Alright, so let's hear about the topic in the comments. Where are you at on this issue? And does this help you, if you don't have it, does this help you understand why there are doll mommies? And why people love getting all the props and doing all the things. Sitting there and you know, pretending to feed with a bottle. Like, if you thought that was weird, maybe now you can understand that this is a total thing. The brain is... all of the dopamine is happening when when you experience this and you're doing something like that. It is dopamine, and for people that may struggle producing happy chemicals in the brain, this can help tons. And I am one of those people who struggles with the happy chemicals in the brain. So yes, absolutely. I love sitting down with a baby, putting on a doll video from some of my favorite doll channels, and just sitting there changing the baby, feeding the baby a bottle, doing the things, cuddling them as they go to sleep, and enjoying the video. And it's all of the happy chemicals, it's all the good stuff. So maybe try that out if you've never tried that out, or if you maybe, I think a lot of times we can feel, oh, I shouldn't get enjoyment out of that because I'm an adult and I should just put the doll on a shelf and leave it there. You know, because that's what society says. I am not much for following what society says. I'm following the dopamine, not your opinions. So, it is what it is. I think a lot of collectors want to be that way, but they're too embarrassed. They don't want people to think they're that type of collector. Oh, come on. You know, and you probably can think of, I can think of collectors right now that you can tell if they were completely and totally free, if they were not burdened by the weight of what people would think, they would collect differently. They would role play. You know, all of the things. You can see them doing all of the things, but it's those ideas in their head that, oh, you'll be labeled this, you'll be considered weird, you're an adult, you don't want to be childish, blah, 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 all the things. So they weigh them down and stop them. Life's too short. Life is way too short. Follow the dopamine, right? Follow the dopamine. Okay, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.